Even though I've been on airplanes quite a few times, I wouldn't call myself like a frequent flyer. Like I'm not one of those people who's hopping on a plane every week. But yet, for the number of times I've been on a plane, I've had some pretty memorable experiences. And some of those experiences were quite memorable for the wrong reasons. Case in point. So one year when I was still living at home with my parents and sister, I have my own apartment now, but when I was living at home with my parents and sister, we decided to go from Toronto to Jamaica for Christmas. Had a lovely time in Jamaica. You know, it was nice having the sunshine and the heat, being able to go to the beach at Christmas time and all that kind of stuff. We had a great, wonderful Christmas dinner with some friends of the family. Had an excellent time down in Jamaica. So anyways, we go to leave to fly home. It's anywhere from a 3.5 to a 4-hour plane flight from Montego Bay, Jamaica to Toronto. So the actual flight itself was fine. I don't have any complaints about the flight. But then we get back to Pearson International Airport in Toronto, and our plane lands safely and uneventfully and everything. And then it taxis through the airport. And then we're just sitting out there and sitting and sitting and sitting before we pull up to a gate so that we can actually get off the plane and be on our way. So finally, after a while of sitting, the pilot comes on and explains to us that we're waiting for a gate to pull up to, because I guess like Toronto Pearson International Airport, it's the busiest airport in Canada. It's always crazy busy, especially during high season like at Christmas time and March break, that kind of thing. So we're sitting there waiting and waiting for a gate. Finally, after sitting for like about an hour and a half, we finally pull up to a gate. So we go to get off the plane. The first thing we have to do is go claim our luggage. So we go to stand around the luggage carousel, like it's one of those, electric luggage carousels, conveyor belts, whatever you want to call it. And we're standing there. And we're waiting, and we're waiting, and we're waiting, and waiting for our luggage. We're starting to wonder, did our luggage end up on the wrong plane or something? At least I was wondering that. So we're sitting there waiting and waiting. Finally, 3 hours later, our luggage finally arrives on the conveyor belt. So we get our luggage. So the next issue we have is clearing customs. That's the one part of our night that was actually very good. Better than we could have expected. We went to go through customs. They were just flagging everyone to just walk through. We didn't have to stop at customs. We didn't have to make a declaration. We didn't have to have our luggage or our person searched or anything like that. We could have brought back a whole bunch of booze and whatever you want from Jamaica, and we would have gotten away with it that night. Like, we're law-abiding citizens, so we don't do that. But what I'm saying is that if we wanted to, we could have. So anyways, we go through customs. So we figure, okay, cool, we can get going home now. And then we go outside to catch a cab. Now the thing is, some people I know do the park and ride thing to the airport, where they'll drive to the airport, and depending on the airport, they can either walk from the parking lot to into the terminal to go and catch their flight, or in the case of Pearson International Airport, with it being so big and busy, there's lots of parking there, so they also have park and ride there. But we decided, we've never done the park and ride thing where you park at the airport and all that. We've always preferred to take a taxi to go to and from the airport, at least when I was traveling with my parents and sister anyways, because of the amount of luggage we had. So we go to the taxi area and we try flagging down a taxi. We're waiting and waiting. There's no taxis coming there, at least to the area we were waiting. And we waited and we waited and we waited. We must have waited for probably about an hour and a half for a taxi. Easily waited for an hour and a half. So anyways, we were wondering what the hell was going on. Mind you, this was like around December 29th, December 30th in Toronto. So at that time of year in Toronto, the weather is usually pretty cold. Like we're talking about sub-zero temperatures or temperatures that are below 32 degrees Fahrenheit, below 0 degrees Celsius. And it was no exception that night. So we kind of decided, you know what? Someone suggested it to us. Maybe what we should do is take one of those hotel shuttle buses to a hotel, because they have lots of hotel shuttles that come through Pearson International Airport. So we took one of those, and then we just thought maybe it would be easier to catch a taxi from a hotel instead. So we hopped on a hotel shuttle. We went to the hotel. And the one thing I haven't mentioned so far in this story, talking about horrible weather, we came back from sunshine and warmth in Jamaica, where the temperature was like in the 30s or in the 90-degree Fahrenheit range. And we come back to these sub-zero temperatures, and I tell you, everything that could fall from the sky did fall from the sky that night. There was rain that night, there was snow, there was sleet, and at this particular time when we got back, lucky us, there was ice falling, freezing rain. About the only thing that didn't fall from the sky that night was kitchen sinks. So anyways, we get to this hotel, and as a result of the ice that was falling, the electricity kept going on and off. Because I guess, with all the ice weighing down electrical wires and all the ice, it's not very good for power transformers. So the electricity kept going on and off, the lights kept flashing on and off. And we didn't have any cell phones with us at that time. So that means we had to use landlines to call the cab. Now, anytime there's a power failure, landlines also go out generally for a couple or a few minutes as a result of electrical failures. So it took quite a while for my parents to get through to the cab company to get us a cab. And while we were waiting there, my parents were off calling. I was waiting there with my sister. We're in the lobby of this hotel. There were these two couples that were fighting, yelling and screaming at each other. And it even got to the point, too, where this one girl was, it was two guy-girl couples. One of the guy-girl couples was yelling and screaming and swearing at each other. And the other couple, it even started to get physical with them. This girl would be poking this guy in the chest or go right up to him and poke her finger in his face. And he would just keep pushing her away, pushing her like a good 10, 15 feet away each time. I really didn't feel like getting involved, so I didn't. But anyways, this was all going on while we're waiting for a cab. Finally, we managed to catch a cab, lo and behold. Now, from this hotel was only a couple of minutes from Pearson International Airport. Where we were living at the time, Under normal circumstances, with traffic and weather cooperating, it's generally about a 15 to 20 minute ride from Pearson International Airport to the place we're living at the time. Because of how horrible the roads were that night, it probably took us about an hour to get to our place. The cab driver had no choice but to drive at like about 15 kilometers an hour or 10 miles an hour because the roads were just a sheet of ice. I remember we were seeing these big bright blue flashes in the sky. I remember asking, "What are those?" And he said, "Oh, power transformers have been blowing up all night because of the ice storm." So we finally get home. Anyways, the cab driver has to drop us on the street in front of our house because there had to be about 2 feet of snow or about 60 centimeters of snow in our driveway. And the snow that the snowplow leaves behind the bottom of your driveway, that snow pile had to be about 3 or 4 feet high, or approximately 1 meter high. So here we are, basically slugging all our luggage, 2 weeks worth of luggage, over this huge snow pile, having to walk through all that snow, the snow-covered driveway, into our house. Well, we finally get into our house. Thank goodness, home sweet home at last. So basically our plane landed at Toronto Pearson International Airport probably around 8 o'clock that night. By the time we got to our house, which is normally only about a 15-20 minute ride from Pearson Airport, it was about 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. 7.5 to 8 hours from landing to getting home. Yeah. That's why I titled this video, Plane Trip from Hell. So please like this video and subscribe and share this video. Thanks for listening.